Welcome to the Tangle with Kyle Ridley, where we get tangled in all of the fun and fury and four-legged friends. And that's what I'm tangled in this week. So I have 3 dogs of my own, 3 rescue dogs. I love them more than anything. I've always loved being surrounded by animals. And so I do some boarding on the side. And this past week, I have had 4 different boarders at my house. So at most, I've had 6 dogs in my house at once. And I love it. They're able to roam wherever they want. I tell all the owners that allowed on all the furniture. They can sleep with me. And sometimes I have 5 or 6 dogs in bed with me. And I just scooch myself in and sleep as I can. It really is just the best. I feel like taking care of animals and dogs specifically is like one of my actual callings. I think about them all the time. I feel pride in taking care of them. I feel pride in knowing they feel safe with me, and it's a privilege. Anyone with animals knows that they make the house a home, right? Just their smiles when you walk in the door and their paw on your shoulder and wanting love, and I can't get enough. So I'll have many dogs at my house through the summer. I encourage everyone, if you're on the fence about getting a pet, get a pet. It's really a family member and it will change your life. Please, and adopt. Don't shop. I never grew up with pets because my mom had so many children. So, raising 6 sons, there's not much room to add an animal on top of that. But I think my sophomore or junior year of high school, there was a stray cat and I took it in, and my mom did let me keep that cat. Her name was Molly. I was the oldest. My room was in the basement, so it was just me and Molly down there. And I moved out my senior year of high school, so I took Molly with me, and she was with me for a good long time. And then I ended up working as a veterinary technician in high school and early college. And I don't know if they do this anymore, but I was not licensed. I don't know. I don't think every veterinary assistant has to be licensed, but like I was helping with surgeries, not making incisions or anything, but holding the animals, holding the tools, holding the animals as they were put under, waking the animals up from anesthesia, helping with x-rays. My first day, I remember having to bag up an animal after it was put to sleep. You really get used to that stuff right away. And so like when an animal, not to get dark, but when an animal is put to sleep, it is quite peaceful. You're really just holding them. They get a little shot and they just fall asleep. It's pretty humane in my opinion, especially with any animal suffering. You don't want to see that. Animals are just my pure joy. I have 3 rescues. I have one that's a Lhasa Apso mixed with a Shih Tzu. I have a Pinkinese mixed with a mini poodle, and I have a Pomeranian mixed with, I think, a Chihuahua, my sweet little Ollie boy. So I'm loving getting tangled in all my 4-legged and furry friends. And this guest that I have coming up, Mr. Matt Dillon, he's a PR pro and he is a podcaster and he's a fashion mogul, but he's also an animal lover. And you'll get to hear a true love story about him and his chimp, who he, as he declares, moved from New York to Miami to be closer to. And if you follow his Instagram, you'll see all their adventures, and they're a true love story. Other than that, I have been tangled in a sweet surprise over the weekend. I won an Emmy for Producer of the Year, Live Producer of the Year at the local Emmys here in the DC area. I didn't attend just because I sort of retired from producing local news, although I'm loving producing the podcast. But as I knew I was going to be heading out, I did submit for that category and had never done that before. So to get the nomination was wild and sort of the gift in itself. And as I was home, I was in my basement working out on the elliptical, and my former work wife and one of my best friends, Chanel, was there, and she let me know that my category was coming up. So I turned on YouTube, and just in time to record it on my phone, I won. It was pretty awesome. It's my second Emmy and a nice little bookend to wrap out my decade in local news. That whole journey was full of excitement and growth and long hours and exhaustion and despair and learning how to not sweat the small stuff. I really think working in local news forced that on me, and I appreciate that now. So much stuff just falls off me now. When you have to produce a live show every day, there's going to be mistakes, there's going to be high stakes, and you realize what's life or death, and nothing's really life or death. It's a job. It's fun. You'll do it again tomorrow. But I'm super appreciative for that award. Now let's get tangled with my good friend, Mr. Matt Dillon, who I've known for about a decade now. And this could come with a trigger warning because we get into everything, not just, his love for his chimp and that sweet love story, but he has been through it over the last couple decades. We cover addiction, we cover the adult entertainment industry and what comes with that community sometimes and what you can get wrapped up in. We cover a lot of fun stuff too. We cover some fashion and some podcasting and moving from Australia to Los Angeles to New York and adapting here and building an empire. It's an exciting conversation, but yeah, a little bit of a trigger warning because we go deep here, as we say. We do the deep and the shallow here. Let's get tangled with publicist, podcaster, fashion guru, Matt Dillon. Here we go. You've been busy, you've been traveling a lot.
Life is never dull, put it that way. It's one day I'm here, one day I'm there, but I find myself in that bubble of like workaholic. And there's so many other things that like are outside that. I know you have the same journey in a similar sense with the working and finding that balance. And it's getting to that point where I'm like, decisions are going to be made, things have to happen. My lease is up here in Miami, so where am I going? What am I doing?
How long have you been in Miami?
Nearly 5 years now.
And you were born in Australia?
I was Sydney, Australia. I mean, the journey to Miami from Sydney was literally LA for about 5, 6 months, and I was like, this is definitely not my scene. People were like, really? That's not your scene? I was like, no, that's not my scene. And then I moved to New York, and I'll never forget the client that took me there was nothing that I would ever touch again. It was an artist that was selling poop in a toilet as an installation. And I said, yeah, I can do anything.
Beautiful.
I was like, I didn't do a very good job, but it got me to New York. So I was like pretty crap at it, no pun intended. But it did get me to New York, and that's where I spent most of my formative growth and understanding and all the shit that I went through.
How long were you in New York?
15 years?
Growing up in Australia, was that always a goal to make it to the United States?
No, no. So I was doing PR in Sydney and back in, oh my God, here's the aging myself. Back in those days, um,
We're the same
it kind of,
age. Stop it.
listen, bitch, listen, I didn't even dye my hair for this podcast.
Oh,
Shit.
oh, you're going gray, not me, not yet.
Yes, honey, I am. I am. Um, the Sydney life was really interesting because I had a beautiful, blessed life there. Family term, like besides personal family situations and my mom divorcing my father and that whole scenario of like life, but my professional career was pretty much like toe to toe to toe to toe. I think you've known me for a long time. I have dreams of grandeur and I want it all and I don't want to say no to anything and I don't believe in this world we should ever cap ourselves on anything.
How often do you make it back to visit family?
My mom came and visited last year. We do kind of meet in the middle scenarios and like kind of just keep that. And I only have my mommy now. So, my father's estranged elsewhere and my grandmother passed probably a year and a half ago. And that was like our little core group. I do have siblings that's, constantly evolving. I think my life is constant evolution of relationships. I have the work shit down. I can do the work. I can say I want to be on a billboard. I want to do this. I'm gonna do jewelry. I do it. I ain't got no man still. I ain't got no family here in the United States. I ain't got shit. So I'm
You have
like,
a
it's
lot of friends, though. You have such a big community, even if it's not blood, you have a big social community of friends and, adopted family in that sense.
you're 100% correct. And I think sometimes you can get caught in like a wallow and woe be me moment. It's not to say that I'm not vulnerable, but when I am vulnerable, it's like a whole nother level of vulnerable. I'm gonna break down in your arms. We're gonna go there. So for me, it's like I know I'm blessed. I've created beautiful synergy with people all across this country. Those relationships are very important to me. It's just sometimes you sit back at, you're sitting there with the dog and you're like, oh shit, like it's just you and me, kid.
I relate to you in that sense, in that I feel like I've built a big community, but how well do they all really know me? I think whenever you walk into a room, like you make everyone feel welcome, you are putting everyone in their place lovingly, like, let's do this, let's do this. You're connecting. It almost feels like you can connect on a deep level with anyone. I kind of feel that way, but I'm not as vulnerable with those people. Something closed off where I'm not sharing that much of myself.
It's an interesting dichotomy because I've known you a long time through a business format sense, like producer to publicist to here to helping me. And by the way, thank you. You were actually the first person that ever took a chance on me and put me on a network show. Yeah, and
Look
then
at
that trickle
you.
affected everything. So I have to give you
Now
props
you're
for that.
hosting everything.
Honey, I'm trying. I'm trying. But the reality of that for me is, and this is gonna sound so like a huge big fat lie, that I remember leaving high school and I remember saying like I have to be the person because I don't want to be bullied anymore. I'm not gonna be pushed down. I've been to therapy and like worked through that anger of what that did to me back in high school. You know, the usual slurs and this and that. And it's like it didn't really hit me, but it kind of hit me when I left school and I was like, wow, that was like the most horrendous period of my life. So I'm just gonna smile and pretend it didn't happen and not deal with any of it
Until it all comes
until
rushing.
until late 30s, early 40s when I'm trying to build this career and I've created the exact person I imagined, but I didn't deal with any of the residuals of what that actually felt like and
Like
did
middle
it
school,
hurt
high school bullying, that type of trauma.
everything. And then living in a la la land because of that, not dealing with it, putting myself in like silly situations that potentially could harm me, my life, my mental, my social, all of that. I until about 4 years ago, I didn't actually realize that that was literally because I had bottled everything the day I left and was like, okay, peace, we're good.
Kind of living in survival mode and putting
Yeah.
everything sort of blinders on to survive, and then it all catches up with
It
you.
all crumbles down, honey, especially when you put booze, drugs,
Yeah.
sex,
You
rock
have
and
all
roll, and
those
whatever.
vices to get you through that so you're not focusing on all that
I
stuff.
know that's all of New York City. That's 15 years of fun and disaster and crazy.
I bet. So you went to college in Australia?
The funny thing is, so I finished high school. My mother wanted me to get a degree, like she wanted education. And I said, okay, then. So I went to the University of Sydney and I studied for 1 year to be a primary school teacher. How did that work out?
You would have been great at it.
I remember when I said, oh, I'm leaving, and one of the parents was like, I thought you were a teacher, and cried, and the kid cried. But I have a knack of looking at things and being, I can see your capability. I can see that. And maybe that stems from creating my own narrative and like teaching myself to be able to look at what I'm capable of, but then imparting that on others. Because I think people see like the fabulous, the clothes, the this, the that. That's probably 50% of who I really am. There's like a whole other side that's like caravan parks, cave diving, chimpanzee. Like I'm literally a confusing. That's what a lot of men say. That's not normal. I'm not sure what you are. I said, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna give it to you 100% straight all the time, even
Yeah.
if you don't like it.
Well, no one's one-dimensional, so I think a lot of times you have to really invest in someone to see all those parts and for you
Yeah,
to open up to share all
that's
those parts with
that's a good
people.
point. That's a good point.
So you leave college, and then how do you get into PR?
Through my big mouth and just asking questions. And back in, my God, what was it? The Olympics were happening in Sydney, Australia in the year 2000. And I worked at a jewelry store, a muffin store, and then I was at a call center as well. So I've always been like gung ho on that kind of situation. And I remember my mum was like, "Well, you dropped out of university. Now what are you gonna do?" She goes, "You've got too much going on to not do something." So she started to literally cut out things, and she cut out, I guess it would be like local DC government jobs, NYC government. There was a thing for a traineeship for the local council where I grew up in the media department. And I was like, oh, I have no training in that. I know nothing about it, but let me do the interview and maybe I get it. It went from being a traineeship where it was not paid, where they split me between the events department and the media department and paid me and it became a full-time job and then that was a year contract, so that was 2000 to 2001, and that gave me a taste of like what was happening. When I tell you like breaking news, I'm in the mayor's office and the area I grew up in Australia is kind of sketchy. Like it's cute, but like there was a gang rape that happened and I had to write a press release about a gang rape. There was the mayor getting fired for lewd behavior. There was like and I'm sitting there as like 20, 21.
So you've always had a lot of irons in the oven. You're very self-made. Still now you have so many different projects that you're balancing, and you have the support of your mom. So she supported you when you're still figuring yourself out. Have you always had that close relationship with your mom?
Yeah, I mean, I dated a girl during high school, knowing
What?
full well
No.
that yeah, knowing full well that I was a raving homosexual.
And
But yes, I
she
did.
probably knew as well.
She knew, everybody knew, everybody knew. The girl was Greek and her yaya knew, everybody knew. But it was, I guess that's a process in life. Some of us, what do they call that? A gold star gay, a silver. I'm on the lower echelon of like that. I'm like, let me try a little bit of everything and see what
Well, you're not
fits and
Gold
what.
Star. If you've been with a woman, you're
No,
not.
I'm low brow.
Oh,
I'm brown,
slut.
whatever.
You're a slut. No, I'm
She's
just
she's like, you're not a gold star.
kidding. Oh God.
So I remember like I have a vivid memory of when I first had the guts and the balls to talk to another man, and I joined a gym during the time that I was working at the local government area. But I joined the gym that literally cornered onto Oxford Street, and it was like the most expensive. And I was like, all right, this is the hoedom begins right here, right now.
This is where
And it was
your bouginess begins here.
I mean, I picked the bougiest, and I remember analyzing the room, and I was like, everybody's staring at this one trainer. So I befriended the trainer, and he was this beautiful, big, muscular guy, but he was like a geeky dude. Too. It was like really, he was the nicest guy. And I remember he was showing me how to do a crunch, and he said, "Would you ever do Big Brother? Would you tell them that you're gay?" And I had never said gay before in my life. And I was like, I fell off the ball, and I was like crying on the floor in the gym. He's like, "I knew it. I knew it. Come here, come here." It was like a really powerful moment, and I'm still friends with the guy, Aaron. That was a moment that I remember sitting in that gym just bawling my eyes out, releasing, all right, I said it. Nobody died. We're all good.
Yeah, your coming out was kind of a result of someone sort of telling you.
They told me, but the story with my mother is just fabulous. You're gonna love this one. Now, this will age us, but the dial-up internet, I couldn't ever watch the porn without its buffering. So I used to print out on A4 pieces of paper the whole scene and then hide it underneath
All that ink.
yeah, I know. And then hide it underneath the couch. I came home one night and my mother had laid it all out for me and she goes, "Anything to say?" She goes, "I don't care." I was like, and she goes, "He's cute though."
Aw, that's so sweet.
I know I'm very blessed and very lucky because a lot of stories that I've heard just terrify me and like it's hard enough battling that internally and then having to add another layer of that on there. But for me, familial wise, was always no easy breezy. I think I more so in my head, I created a narrative like this is not gonna work. They expect this, and they're very straight and narrow people. So it's not what they birthed was a little different for them. But my mom is my biggest supporter. She's fan club member number one.
And were you like me, having mostly female friendships in school, and those were sort of the ones that you found comfort in and came out to first?
No, I
No?
went to an all boys school. What you're thinking is actually probably what happened a lot. I used to be in the choir, the drama school. I remember like trying to work the politics of bullying out and like giving little hand jobs to like people to surmise them to leave me alone.
I never tried that.
Oh, it was fabulous. I was like, that guy's, I'm not gonna say his name because he is on Instagram and he did turn out to be gay. Boom,
Of
gotcha.
course. Of course.
I didn't really have any female friends until I left school, and I discovered the power of what the female is. And now I have 90% female friends because they're just fabulous and they're supportive and they bring such flavor to life. But it's like, it's interesting that like in my formative years, it was all men, and like I had the identifying finger. I was like, you're gonna be one, you might be one, you might like it anyway.
Well, that's good. You've been able to connect with pretty much everyone on all levels. You're not just designated to one personality or a gay man or females. You can connect with everyone, which I think is rare for a lot of gay men, especially when they're younger.
It's very strange, and the whole thing that you just said about having exposure to different things, I think that's helped in life, but it's also like I think working through those issues that I kind of forced away because my response mechanism used to be if somebody did say faggot, homo, so forth, was to be aggressive to show my masculinity and like fuck you and like really kind of take it to a level because I thought that's how you dealt with the problems. And then I realized that you can shut that out because they're morons and it doesn't really affect my living and my life. And also use your words. That's a lot of therapy though, because I really did always just want to fight a bitch.
So when you do move here, how do you find community in the United States, somewhere that is a brand new, you probably don't know people in LA and New York. Did you just build it all on your own?
Yeah, I mean, I basically was on like a 6 month holiday in LA and trying to fund and had to make decisions. It wasn't until I got to New York that I went to a gay bar by myself for the first time, got on Grindr, got on apps, walked the streets, like met people. I mean, one of my dearest friends who I dated for quite a significant amount of time. He was a dancer at Juilliard, and it's funny how life pulls you aside. He walked up, and I walked down the subway, and I just gave him a look, he gave me a look, and it was like boom, on and popping. But I was so naive and immature that I was the town crier of Chelsea, Hell's Kitchen, every. So I did, he was far more mature than I was and far more ahead. But he now is the head of dance at the Miami dance here in the opera here.
So you maintain ties with some of your past and relationships.
I try, you know what? The ones that have significant push in your life, the ones that you can realize that I taught you something, maybe what you don't want, and you taught me something of like growth. That's always been across the board the weakest link of my whole dynamic makeup, whether it's breakups. I dated somebody that passed away and that didn't work out and that screwed with my mind and
Same,
that
yeah.
was fused with drugs and alcohol and what have you. And for me, it's like I feel like I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to that I look for ways to get out of it. And that's something that I'm working through myself because I have something to offer. I have something to give. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but that's fine. Who is? You know what I mean?
Well, you've been open about your past and addiction and sobriety. Take me through how you fell into that. Was it New York, the New York scene, and being on your own and gay for the first time in a big city and just trying to maybe fit in? And did you say it's been 4 years of sobriety?
Yes. Yeah. So for me, I'm not going to name the names, but I do remember the exact crew that I was hanging around with,
Name
and they
them.
went, name them.
No,
I could name. Well, it was. I
no,
can't
we
say
don't
with
need
it.
to know the names.
I was like, well, I'll tell you off thing, but it was adjacent to the social celebrity world that I was looking to get into. And for me, it was never alcohol that was my issue. It was cocaine, complete straight up. I was like, if I'm gonna pick the drug, let's pick the expensive bitch and let's do a lot of it and let's really ruin our lives. It turned from like, oh, I tried it at a party with them once. I would do it with them, and this is how fast shit can take you and take you down. Then it was every time I was with them, I would do it. Then I got the number for their dealer, and then I would call for it myself. It was a tough world there. I didn't really, I was meeting people every night, and not sexually, sometimes yes, but I was trying my best to find where I fit. And obviously, I just picked a group that I was like, oh, they said yes, and they're doing this, so I should just do this. And I liked what it felt like, and it turned into the ultimate fast forward button turned into literally me ordering stuff and doing it in my bedroom in front of mama for no reason, not going out, not doing anything, getting high, jerking off, and going to sleep.
And Mama
That's
is your dog.
mama is, wait, if I could,
I want to
mama's,
clarify that. It's your
mama's like,
dog.
I heard this shit already. This is a bunch of bullshit.
Oh. So Was it something that you hid from people? Were you dating? Did you have serious relationships while an addict? Did it permeate those relationships?
I picked people that were kind of in that frame, so I knew that like, oh, we could do it together. You know, this was the 20s and early. This was freaking God, 12 years nearly of my life of on off on off. I went to rehab twice. I was trying so hard to be fit in the beginning that I said yes to anything. Yes, you're doing that. Yes, they're doing that. But what I didn't realize in that circle of group, if there's 10 people in there, not all those 10 people are doing that. So I'm like trying to impress everybody, and it's just the one person that's going to take me down, and then I'm susceptible to that. Yes, it was bad. It didn't serve me at all. It dried me of money, dried me of mental capacity, opened a shower of depression and emotion and disgust and self-loathe and hate. Because when I did it, it led to being loose and free and in ways that I'm like, that's not who I am. But when I did it, that's what it made me do. And I thought at the time, oh, that's hot, that's sexy, because back then, for me, the porn culture of this community, especially the LGBTQ plus, is, not everybody's into it. But I remember like back in those New York days, it was like, oh, everybody's porn and talking about things, and the porn stars that are in the porn are in New York City. So it's like everybody's kind of traversing together, and it's a seedy world. It's like it's not for the weak. And you got to have strength. It's kind of terrifying, to be honest. And I'm glad that I'm sitting here to talk about it, because if I could go back, I would have just said I don't need to be friends with you. But I guess I had to go through the bullshit to get to this place. I don't ever want to go down that route ever again in terms of the powder. So I tried to, like, I'm kind of boring it most of the times, because the personality is bang, like go crazy, like take it to 300.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to skip over the fact that you brought porn into this conversation. So you were still high functioning working
Yeah.
all throughout. You're saying that a lot of the drug, that community also, did that lead you into knowing porn stars? How did porn get into this situation? I kind of know this, but open up.
I mean, porn came into this situation just because of the groups that I was in. So for me, there was thoroughfare of people that live in New York City. But this is also way before OnlyFans. I'm talking like original. I'm now talking about movie stars, darling, movie stars.
Movie. But you dated someone or people
I
in the porn industry.
I dated one person.
Okay. And so you found that by knowing him, a lot of that community was partaking as well.
Yeah, and I mean, he was, bless his and rest his soul, a troubled human being, but in a way that, like, I guess when you repeat something he was significantly older than I was at the time too, and I thought it was just the coolest thing, because the true story is the person that my mother put the piece of the papers together was him, was this person.
Oh, the one
So
you printed out.
yes, was him.
Mm.
And I happened to be in the right place at the right time, or fucking the wrong place at the wrong time. And I learned a lot from him. I learned a hell of a lot from him, but I also was exposed to a world of the norm of that in the community, and the norm of, like, and I have very strong opinions on that now, which is very odd. But for me, this moment in my life, I can finally look back and I'm like, I learned so much from him. I can't judge because I put myself in that place, and we had this tumultuous, big and fast, and there was a lot of levels of situations. But he said, and the one thing I remember was, you're the first person that literally asked anything about me, what I did, what my dreams, what my goals were. And then it turned into, you know, it wasn't transactional. It started as a transaction, truth be told, and then it went to non-transaction. So, you know,
You've lived quite the life. Take me to 4 years ago.
4 years ago was like the cuff of almost when he passed away. And I wasn't dealing. So this literally, he'd been gone probably a couple of years, and I was still dabbling in drugs. And I'd come to the point of like spending all my money, doing all of the, you know, I'm an extremist, and that's a good thing in work, but in life, I just kind of looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, A, would this man that passed from, you know, a cocktail of different things, not just cocaine, but many, many different things in one. We did have something, a connection. Was it actually real? Was this what I thought it was? In my mind today, I still believe, yes, we were friendly and we had like something furious, but I do think it was drug fueled and cocktail fueled, and that takes time to remove that because I think I was confused in my mind. I was like, oh, that's the guy that I first came out. Like this is the fairy tale, the gay fairy tale.
So 4 years ago, he passes away, and you decide that you need to get clean.
Well, I trashed a hotel room. I went crazy. I found out how he had passed away, and that triggered something deep, deep, deep in me. And I had to sit with somebody and be like, I'm angry. I want to go hurt. There's a lot of layers to this. Where it buried down to was that I trashed a hotel room and I was like taken in and I was like, I have to do this one more time. I have to do this one more time. And I felt a switch in my head. And people think like I felt like that he was there being like, you met me to see how this ends up.
You loved him.
I did.
Were you
Yeah.
in love with him?
I'm not sure.
Have
I
you been
don't
in
know.
love
Yeah, with many people.
with many people?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. If I can't answer it, then the answer is no, but I do know what true love is, and we can talk about it. I know that sounds crazy with that,
No, but we can lighten up a bit because I do want to talk about the your
but
true one of your
I have been clean, and
yes.
I want to put that on record that there's that, and I don't judge anybody in that industry at all. It's not for me though. I lived a very fast lifestyle, and I'm here to talk about it. But what I'm doing now, I could have been doing, this could have started so much earlier. And I'm like,
Well, we're in our 40s now. It's only supposed to get better. So, and you're killing it. But we do have to talk about the true one of your true loves of your life. It is for, we're on video. There's a chimp, big framed photo of you and a chimp, and that's how I really started feeling more connected to you, was seeing all the videos of you on Instagram with you and this chimp that you were visiting, and just my love of animals. And I have, many rescue dogs. So tell me how this chimp came into your life and just this whole relationship, this love.
I remember starting to see like, I guess the social media thing was starting to pipe up. This was like beginning of COVID, I believe, that I started to see this video of a chimp and like the cuteness of it. And I was like, I never thought about a chimp in my life before. So I was like, this is weird. But I didn't follow it. So I'm just looking at this chimp starts to build like momentum through COVID, obviously because everybody's at home. And where the chimp was, they're doing videos of him skateboarding, cutesy pie, like sleep, all of these things. And I remember saying to my friend, when we're at Fashion Week in New York, I'm gonna go to Miami after and see this chimp. And I went, literally as I said, I went there. Actually, I'm an operator. I befriended one of the people that worked there, one of the ladies that worked there, so I could get a little VIP action in there. But I paid. So the first time was like me going to a refuge and donating and what have you. And I remember he came out and I was like, oh my God. And he just laid in my hands like this. And I just sat there for like 25 minutes being like, this is like the best thing I've ever experienced.
What's his name?
Limbani.
Limbani. Okay.
Yeah. So he was one going on two. And I kept coming back and like getting entrenched with the people that worked there. And then I was like, I just have to work out how I can work there and have this every day of my life. Because this is the best experience. The second day that I met him, I took Mama and I have videos of us like him hugging her and like her like being, what is this? And this
Videos
is
are
crazy.
so cute. Eating with him and feeding the same bowl, and it's just like a child. You don't care about the germs or anything. I'm the
Oh,
same way with my dogs. We'll just kiss on the
I'm
lips
like,
and I don't care.
we're way gone, Kyle. We're way gone on germs after that.
And so chimps, how long do chimps typically live?
Oh, babe, he's going to live 70s, 80s.
70s, 80s. But the thing with chimps is the older they get, explain how you had to separate. He's not really up for
Oh no,
visit.
you tell me the stereotype that you're about to say. I want to hear it.
The stereotype that they get aggressive.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. I'm not gonna debunk that because it's semi-true. So I've been in his life for 7 years and 5 of that solidly here. Like solid. The first two I would come back and forth and get to know him, and then everyone's like, "Oh, you moved to Miami." The truth is, yes, I moved to Miami for chimpanzee. I did. I did. And I can say that now. But as it's progressed, they're territorial in nature. Their strength is 100 times of even the biggest man that you'll ever meet in your life. Their love and like devotion though is something that to experience that. But as he grew up, his hands, it was the hugs became, ooh, that's getting a lot. The teeth were sharp, the this was sharp. The mannerisms and the fast movements, but he could turn on a dime on any of us. And I say, and everybody that was by the end of it, there was probably about 4 or 5 of us that were day to day with him and could interact still. And I remember like if something bad happened, this has been the best. I mean, I put my dog right up until the day he left, December 22nd, 2024. He would just parade her around holding her, and she would just lie there like, okay, we're doing this again and again. But he gave her so much spirit. She's old. She's an old lady, and he boosted her spirit. It did get to the point where there weren't enough of us around to do the right thing, and he was growing. I think he's about 99 pounds now, so he's a big, big fella. And it just wasn't the right thing to do anymore. And then the gay boy cried for like a good month before this even happened, and then the day came, and we did it, and we did it, and it's so insanely amazing the life he's going to have, which is basically he's going to be moving towards open air living with other chimps. This is a chimp that's never seen a chimp, never met a chimp, never played with a chimp. And 2 weeks ago, he was just introduced to Tuffy and Timmy. One's blind, one's old, but now he's literally living in close quarters with other chimps, like he's doing zoomies around them yet. He hasn't touched them, he hasn't really connected, but he's there. And so my goal is I want to see him by the end of this year again, because I think that was something a part of my life, nearly every day of my life. When I wasn't traveling, I was with him.
True love.
Yeah. So if I could find that in a man, Kyle, come on.
It's gonna happen. That's the next chapter. So you mentioned like, obviously devastating to say goodbye, and you cried in Applebee's. Are you just letting yourself feel everything now instead of trying to numb it when stuff like that
Yeah.
happens?
I still feel it. I have these pictures like this, all through my house, and I can sit there now and I just cry and I'm like, oh, I'll never be able to touch him again. I'll never be able to do this again. And I'm like, but he's gonna have the most amazing life, and I'm also gonna have an amazing life now that I have time to show the lessons I learned with him, specifically through the way that he interacted. Oh my God, now I'm getting the way that they interacted with each other just taught me like truly now what I want in a human and what I expect and what is possible through not even speaking to somebody. So he and I built the most crazy bond that's a book on itself. For me, I call life chapters, and I know you got books. I know you got books. I know you got books.
Your dates have a lot to live up to.
The last 6 months have really been like compacting and understanding how the loss of Limbani triggered my memories of loss of somebody else. And I'm like, wow, all I keep doing is having these epic things and like they just go away. And then realizing, no, this is your time to like saying yes to his work stuff, but also saying yes to what might be in a partner and what have you. And I would welcome that.
Well, I think the relationship with the chimp proves that even though you're super busy and always are juggling multiple things, when there is true love or interest, you make the time and you prioritize that relationship.
You sound like my mother. You sound like my mother.
You're ready, but speaking of your full plate, you have so many things that you're balancing right now. So let's get into it. The MD effect, you are designing jewelry, You have a podcast. You're hosting TV on the side. Well, your podcast is called Fashionably Late. You are a fashion guru. You're not just a publicist. Has the love of fashion always been part of your life?
I've always loved it, and now I use it. I think it's all intertwined. Everything I do now, we could probably touch on it as a conglomerate, to be honest, because it all intersects in certain ways. So the podcast is, I love storytelling. I love being able to listen to other people tell their stories, which is why I'm so happy you started your podcast, because I think you bring, no, I think you bring like a different vibe to it because you produce so many goddamn things that you understand how to make people talk and open up and what have you. So I love the aspect of that storytelling, but I also am like calculating the fact that I called it Fashionably Late for two reasons, because I wanted it to move into like the world of fashion so I could interview fashion people. Not so much Fashionably Late being about a party, but Fashionably Late being about the universe hitting you with something, maybe later in life, maybe earlier in life, but doing it because at that time you have to kind of, you have to pivot and you have to learn a lesson. The jewelry came from a thing of pure love of like dressing up. And I was like, well, I should like sell some shit because I'm always talking about shit and people like what I wear. So like I continually am putting myself out there now because I was like, somewhere, somehow, I do believe in this circumference and circle that there is people around and you got to put yourself out there. And I do want to do it in a creative and professional space that could lead to drinks or dinner or what have you. I'm not too old to be. I just don't like anymore to be not the doof doof clubs anymore. Like a bar situation, great, but it's like, I think it's like I've tapped out of that and I'm like,
Some
I
couch
don't think
time, some fun on just watch TV on the couch with the dogs. That's the best.
that's yes, sir. That's the ultimate. The
Yeah.
ultimate.
I'm so happy
I
that you
love
took.
getting tangled, bitch.
I love getting tangled with you, and I can't wait to see where you end up.
That was a fun conversation, right? My good friend Matt Dillon. Make sure to follow him, listen to his podcast, follow his fashion adventures on Instagram and TikTok. He's so good at that, much better at me. All the editing and those fancy videos, and he's a great follow. I will see you next time on the Tangle with Kyle Ridley. Thank you all so much for listening, and I just appreciate everyone who's showing their support. And as we build this together, I'm enjoying it. I will talk to you all soon.